Assalamu alaikum. This podcast has been brought to you by Seeker's Guidance, the Global Islamic Seminary. Help us spread the light of prophetic guidance to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Make a small donation at seekersguidance.org/donate. As little as $10 a month can help people find life-changing guidance.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والعاقبة للمتقين والجنة للموحدين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We welcome all our brothers and sisters to this next episode or podcast where we commenting on the book al-Fawa'id al-Mukhtarah of the great scholar and saint al-Habib Zayn bin Sumayt. And of course the objective here is to discuss aspects of our religion, of our deen, matters related to you and I, but specifically for you and I living in Western countries in this modern world, and how we can find real life examples in men that lived in our time and draw benefit from them and their practices, and understand how if they living in this time with the challenges of this time, and many of them spending time in Western countries, were able to practice this religion in its entirety, in its fullest, how you and I can draw inspiration from them. In our previous podcast, we spoke of the importance of knowledge and our attitude towards increasing in knowledge, and how every believer should be driven, and we made a number of examples regarding that. In this podcast, I'd like to speak about the etiquettes of the student towards his sheikh, or the etiquettes of the murid with the sheikh. And this is a very important topic that requires much reflection. We have many students of deen today, students of knowledge today, but the etiquette that they adopt with their teachers is very poor. I belong to the fraternity, and therefore I speak with lots of experience when I say that as students, many a times we are very negligent in showing the desired respect and reverence towards our teachers, and many a student, unfortunately, that has been touched with the ills of a Western society, and that has adopted the academic approach in terms of his relationship with his ustad or sheikh or teacher, very often and very quickly and after a very short span of time sees himself as the equal of his teacher or his sheikh, and imagines that he has more knowledge. And sometimes that's very possible. Sometimes the student may excel the teacher in terms of outer knowledge or outer ilm. However, what we want to impress upon in this podcast is the importance of, no matter how a student grows, the etiquette and adab of the sheikh is of the utmost importance, as we will come to learn inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And this is really an ideal time for me to be speaking about this, because I currently find myself in the city of Salalah, and we with a group of brothers and sisters will be traveling to the city of Tarim, where we will have the honor inshallah of meeting our teachers and our scholars and our shuyukh, especially our teacher Sayyid Habib Umar bin Muhammad bin Salim bin Hafid. So some of the scholars, they mentioned that 70% of the time knowledge is attained through the connection a student has with his sheikh, with his teacher. 70% of the time knowledge is attained by the student because of his adab, because of his respect, because of his love and attachment to his teacher. And that really says much. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, I forget the number that's mentioned in the narration, but a large number of students would attend his classes. And the narrator said that almost 70% to 80% of those that attended, a few thousand attended, and almost 80% of them attended to learn adab and etiquette from Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and the rest was really there to write hadith. On another occasion, we can confirm the exact percentage and the exact number of students. They in the Adab Suluk al-Murid, Imam Haddad, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him, said that if you find that the murid, the student, is filled with reverence for his Shaykh and love and respect for the Shaykh, and that is apparent in him inwardly and outwardly, that he has the correct belief regarding his Shaykh, the correct adab, and he follows in the way of his teacher, then know that that murid will inherit the secret of his Shaykh. فَلَا بُدَّ أَن يَرِثَ سِرَّهُ أَوْ شَيْئًا مِنْهُ. And Sayyidina al-Imam Ali ibn Hassan al-Attas, he said that the extent of what a student will receive in terms of knowledge and in terms of openings and in terms of light and unveilings is in proportion and in accordance with the amount of adab and etiquette that student adopt with his teacher. Now, so there are several advices that come from our students. Imam Sha'arani, one of the great ulama of Egypt, he said that Shaykh Bahauddin as-Subki, who was one of the sons of the great scholar Imam Taqiyuddin as-Subki rahimahullah ta'ala. And Imam Taqiyuddin as-Subki was one of the greatest Shafi scholars that this ummah has seen. He was a master, he was brilliant. I want his name, I'm mentioning his name, I always say this because these names, they should ring a bell with us when I hear Imam Subki and I hear the name of, whether it's the father Taqiyuddin or the son Tajuddin, or whether it's the likes of Imam as-Suyuti or Zarkashi or Shamsuddin al-Ramli or Ibn Hajar al-Haytami. These names, we should become familiar with them because these are the giants of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. They are our real examples. They are people that encompass the methodology of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. These are people that we should understand that their views represent the majority of this ummah. So learn from them. And how did they become such giants? So he said, Bahauddin, who was the son of Shaykh al-Islam Taqiyuddin as-Subki, he said that we were traveling to Greater Syria. My father was riding on his riding animal, a horse, and we passed by a farmer who, just while passing by, we heard him saying that I asked the Faqih Muhyiddin al-Nawawi, and I asked Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. And when he said that, it became evident that that man met Imam Nawawi and studied under Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. And when Taqiyuddin as-Subki heard that, immediately he descended from his horse. And he said that, by Allah, I will not ride a horse while an individual that has an eye that saw Imam Nawawi is walking. So he made the man, the student of Imam Nawawi, the farmer, ride his horse while he walked alongside the horse. Subhanallah. Why? Because that person was a student of Imam Nawawi, and Taqiyuddin as-Subki was not a direct student of Imam Nawawi. He did not meet Imam Nawawi. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala passed on before he was born, to the best of my knowledge. But he adopted Imam Nawawi as a teacher because he studied the works of Imam Nawawi. He read his Minhaj, he read the Majmu' of Imam al-Nawawi, he read his various works on Hajj and Mustalah al-Hadith, and of course smaller works such as the Arba'un al-Nawawiyya and so forth. And he adopted Imam Nawawi as a teacher. And when he adopted Imam Nawawi as a teacher, when he met one of the students, he refused to ride on his horse while a student of his Shaykh was walking alongside. So he descended, made the student of Imam Nawawi of his Shaykh ride the horse while he walked. And that's what the ulama or the teachers. The Habib Salim al-Shatiri, who passed away last year, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate his status and allow us to benefit from him. He was looked upon as the most senior teacher in the Ribat of Tarim for many, many years. When he met Habib Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Haddar, Habib Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Haddar, of course, is the father-in-law of Habib Zayn, who is the author of the al-Mukhtarah, the text that we are studying. He was also the Shaykh and father-in-law of our teacher Sayyid Habib Umar. And Habib Salim al-Shatiri was younger than him and more junior to him. And there was a video clip going around, and it will be very great if you can see it, because these are real examples of humility. Because Habib Salim tried kissing the hand of Habib Muhammad al-Haddar, and Habib Muhammad refused and refused and refused. Why? Because even though Habib Salim was his junior, His father Habib Abdullah was one of the teachers of Habib Muhammad Haddar, and he said that, how could I ever allow a student or the son of my teacher to kiss my hand? When he moved to Medina al-Munawwara, somebody made an apartment available for Habib Muhammad Haddar on the first floor, and they made an apartment available for Habib Salim on the first floor, on the ground floor. And Habib Muhammad refused to live on the first floor of that building, and he insisted that Habib Salim should move to the first floor and he will live on the ground floor, because he said that even though Habib Salim was his junior, he said that, how can I sleep on top of the son of my Shaykh? Right? And even though this point is being emphasized a lot, it requires to be emphasized, because we don't value our teachers, and we don't hold them in high regard, and we don't show them love, we don't show them respect, we don't show them reverence. Sometimes we mix too much with them and we're looking for their faults. Our teachers, they used to pray, "Oh Allah, keep any faults of my teacher away from my eyes, that my eyes not see any faults within my teacher." Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala, and he said that, I lowered myself as a student and Allah granted me honor as a teacher. ذَلَلْتُ طَالِبًا فَعَزِزْتُ مَطْلُوبًا. And that's coming back to the point I was making earlier. They made dua, "Oh Allah, keep the faults of my teacher away from me, such that I cannot see any faults within him." Today we go in search of looking for faults of our teachers, and then when we find those faults, we don't only think less of the teacher, but we also speak about it and make others think less of the teacher. And then at the end of the day, I'm the first person to lose out. Our teachers are individuals that should be in our du'as. We should never forget about them. Al-Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that there wasn't a single prayer that I made since the day my teacher Hamad ibn Abi Sulaiman passed away, except that I made istighfar for him after that prayer. And then he said, I will continue making istighfar for every man that I learned from, and for every student that I taught. And it comes in a narration that your fathers are three: the father that has given birth to you, your biological father; the father whose daughter you have married; and then your third father is the father that teaches you, your teacher. And the narration says that he is the best of all fathers. And like this, there are many narrations and many hikayat speaking about the importance of a teacher, and how important it is for us to honor our teachers. And through our honor and respect for teachers, 70% of the time we will be successful in our studies, and we will attain knowledge through that teacher. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's system doesn't always work as how we see it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's system is sometimes very different. I'll conclude this narration because it's very late and we've been traveling for a very long time, and you may hear some tiredness in my voice. When Imam Hakim developed a wound that would not heal, and we may assume that he had an infected wound, and infectious wounds are very, very dangerous, and it was not healing until eventually I actually saw the other day on social media, I think it was Facebook, one brother was sitting with a wound that was infected, and at that point in time it was so serious that he could have potentially lost his leg. I don't know what happened, but perhaps if this narration could reach that brother that had an infection on a scar on his leg. Imam Hakim had a similar problem, and his student Imam al-Bayhaqi, out of concern when he reached one masjid in a neighboring city, asked the Imam, "Can you please make dua for our teacher Imam Hakim, who is suffering from this wound?" And the Imam made the announcement, and a lady who was present that day in Jumu'ah, she took the message very seriously because of her love and respect and reverence for the ulama. So she went home and she prayed that Allah should grant Imam Hakim shifa, cure, until she fell asleep and she saw the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam told her that, inform Imam Hakim that he should dig a well, and through that well he should give water to people or for people to drink, and through that Allah will grant him cure. So she conveyed that to the Imam of the Masjid, who conveyed it to Imam al-Bayhaqi, who took it to his teacher, Imam Hakim. Imam Hakim heard the advices of Rasulullah, built a well outside his house, and for all citizens passing by, he made free water, drinking water, potable water available, and very soon thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him cure from that wound. And thus the cure of Imam Hakim was not in the advice of physicians or in medication or ointments, it was in giving water as charity to the people. And therefore sometimes the outward means that we take to become inheritors of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and students and scholars of deen is the one where we put in many hours of hard work and effort, mu'tala'ah and takarar, evening in, morning out, and that is very, very important and can never be ignored. Don't misunderstand my message. However, a great part of acquiring knowledge is not only the hard work, it's not only having a great intellect, it's about lowering yourself in front of your teacher, having adab and respect in front of your teacher. The companions are the best examples for us in this regard. Sayyidina Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala used to carry the sandals of Rasulullah. The Prophet did not remove his sandals, says Abdullah bin Mas'ud would be there to pick up the sandals of his teacher, keep it with him until the Prophet reached a point where he required his sandals again, and he would place it down. And we often see students doing this for our teacher, Sayyid Habib Umar. So how fortunate are they to be in his service, and how fortunate is every student of knowledge to be in the service of his teacher. May Allah make us true servants of our teachers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to develop the utmost respect and adab and etiquette with them, such that we are able to benefit from them. The more we hold them in great esteem, as it comes, one of the Salihin stated, the more you hold your teacher in great esteem, the more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala holds you in great esteem. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us, oh Allah, protect from our eyes that we see any faults in our teachers. May Allah, Habib Ali al-Habshi said that I did not see any human aspect within my teacher Habib Abu Bakr. I only saw kamal, perfection. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us such that we are blinded to any wrong or any disobedience or any fault or aib that may exist within our teachers, such that we see them as ultimate examples, free of any wrongdoing, men that are only connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have no attachment to this dunya. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Another important point that goes without saying is the importance of having a teacher, because we live in a time where many an academic imagines that he does not require the teacher and all he needs is books. And an example that speaks about the problem about this methodology is the person that once read the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said that the al-Habbatus Sawda, the black seed, is a cure for all ailments and sicknesses. And when he read the narration, this person that imagines that he could just receive his knowledge from books, there was an error, and it said instead of al-Habba, he read al-Hayya as-Sawda. So what he thought was that the black snake is a cure for all ailments. So he caught the black snake, and the snake was venomous. So he ate the snake, and it caused him to become blind, and the poison of the snake eventually killed him. So him reading a text without a teacher and without the guidance of the scholars eventually led to his death. That was in a very clear error, and perhaps some of us may consider it to be silly, but many a times in a very subtle misunderstanding that we pick up in the reading of books without the guidance of our mashayikh and our teachers, we develop ailments and sicknesses within our heart that does not lead to the death of the physical body, like the black snake led to the death of this individual that thought he can read and study a book without a teacher, but it leads to faults in our hearts, that leads to the death of our hearts. And beyond that, it also many a times develops within us an ego, that we imagine ourselves now to be holding degrees and to hold different titles, and that sometimes allows and causes one to develop an ego and imagine that we are equal and sometimes better than the scholars and our teachers. And that is what Imam Ghazali rahimahullah listed as one of the muhlikat, the things that would lead to our destruction in this world and the next. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our hearts from any such illnesses and ailments. And may Allah allow us and grant us all the best of teachers. And may we become the best of students towards those teachers. Ameen Ya Rabbil Alameen. And for those of us that are traveling to the city of Tarim this evening, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us a safe passage. بهذه النوايا وبما وسلفنا صالح وسيد الحبيب عمر وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was brought to you by Seekers Guidance, the Global Islamic Seminary. Visit seekersguidance.org to access reliable Islamic knowledge taught by qualified teachers. We offer a wide range of courses, podcasts, articles, and a world-class answer service. Support us in spreading free, reliable Islamic knowledge to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Visit seekersguidance.org/donate and make a small monthly commitment today. Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever guides someone to goodness will have a similar reward." So don't forget to share this podcast and spread prophetic guidance.